Welcome to the land of the randoms. Check your expectations at the door, because you're going to be entering this place of wonders where anything is possible. Prepare to be amazed by the decision making of your new brethren. And if you're now able to accept the random for who he is and put all your biases aside, it lets you open up yourself to greater truths. Like the fact that everybody in the world is a random to somebody. And that at some point in this game's life, you've also been somebody's random garbage teammate. Regardless, at the end of every game, a lost connection is turned into a new one. And even though we end up matching up with another random, at times it can almost seem like fate, which is a little bit of irony. Because this chance encounter in front of you is nothing short of a miracle. To find people this equal, the universe must truly be infinite. Now stare in awe at a fight choreographed by the gods themselves. The gods can be cruel at times, but I think it shows us another fundamental truth, that in a fight, sometimes there are no winners. Definitely not here. Forget the teammates, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this on my own. I don't need anybody. I'm gonna get this chicken dinner, sit down at the table, eat it all by myself with a spoon, because I like to work for it. Me, myself, and iRobot are about to third party this bitch. Alright, I only got a few, so one for you, one for you. I'm not too sure on whose team everybody is, so why don't you just have another? You can have doubles too. So which one of you guys are together? It's hard to tell, he's not shooting for a long time. Oh, okay, they are against each other. And now you're all alone, but the difference is that I'm used to it. I play with randoms all the time. But him? No. He merely adopted the loneliness, the one-man squad. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see a real teammate until I was already a man. And by then, it was nothing but blind Mozambique callouts. And now I will break this man by shooting him in the back. I would have liked some teammates, by the way. But if you're one of those guys that leaves halfway through, you're dead to me. Let's tighten this shot up a little bit because none of these guys were involved. And then we recently heard that there's going to be penalties for dropping out early. What do you guys think about that? Is that good or bad? You gonna penalize the guy that never loaded in? He left so early he didn't even get here. He should get penalized for sure. Stop playing at McDonald's, bro! 200 plus kills and I think we can do it. I take 2s all the time. And that's actually not by personal choice, it just seems to go that way in the land of randoms. Sometimes not everybody is let in at the door. It's actually pretty common to only have 2 people load in. I don't know what's up with that, but that's been like that for a while now. But I don't find 2 to be that bad of a handicap. I still think you can do reasonably well with 2 players. Obviously, it helps to be with 3, but I'll take what I can get, really. I just like teammates that know to stay in the game when they go down. There's a reason the counter's that long, because sometimes it takes a while to set up for these revives. And I've had a really good success rate, it's probably because I use Pathfinder. And Pathfinder is amazing at getting people's banner, just getting in and getting out. I'm actually going to show you the best Pathfinder teammate I've ever had a little bit later on. But I just want to finish up talking about 2s and 3s and randoms in general. Like sometimes there's a lot of random teams. We're kind of gonna get into this episode now. We're gonna start talking about playing with randoms because I do it a lot, and I find that if you give it a chance, you can do quite well. And sometimes it means that you're gonna have to bend over backwards for them, because there's some certain guys that are just super stubborn. They'll ping a lot, and they'll never listen to your ping. In which case, if you really want to work as a team, then you may want to follow them instead. But if they're just pinging and don't really seem to know what they're doing, then they're just a rando garbo teammate, and don't worry about it. Just do your own thing. Right now they're camping that up. I'm going to get this revive, and then I'm going to go for that guy. And we can still come back in this game. It's still pretty early. There's enough circle left that we should be able to loot. Sometimes by this point in the game, you can just find crates, so it's a little bit easier. Like as long as it doesn't get to like bottom 3, then calling in a revive it's so obvious at that point that you're probably going to get ganged up on at the point. Early game revives work out really well for you. You still have enough time to go loot back up. You don't have to be hyper aggressive because the circle is still large. It just means that you're going to be fine. It just means you made it to the late game. Congratulations, you lived. Well, you died, but you're going to get a chance to live again. And honestly, that doesn't even faze me anymore. It's just so common when you're playing with randoms. It would be less frequent if you did have a penalty, so I'm actually in favor for it. As somebody who likes to just jump on, maybe have a game or 2 and then jump off, I'd like to know that when I do jump on, I'm gonna get that full game experience and not just be playing, go through the whole looting phase, take all that time just for my teammates to drop out as soon as they're knocked down once. And sometimes when one guy quits out, the second guy quits out, and he's like, no problem, I'm just gonna go find myself a new squad when I queue up right away. And there's multiple reasons for why people leave. Sometimes they go down right in the early game and they're like, my teammate wasn't there for me, and they're just like, why am I even gonna put up with this? So they forget that, they leave. And since there is no penalty system, it leaves them free to even sometimes randomly go through teams until they find that they get paired up with somebody they want to play, usually based on the beginning screen of how many kills their teammates have. And there are people who are like that. And if you implement a system like this, you'd see a lot less of that. But here's a good teammate, and this clip in general is just hilarious. Just see what happens. I'm casually looting and I just fall down this cliff. I did not notice what was ahead of me. I just thought it was like a hill. I think I'm gonna be alright. I have a Pathfinder here. So I'm just gonna wait for him. I'm like, awesome. We're gonna zip line right out of here. And as I'm waiting, this is what happens. And look, his crate is right up there, and he's gonna take no time before leaving. That's just ridiculous. There was no way we were not gonna get him. So what made him do this? Is he's just like, I'm playing with two idiots because they fell off the cliff, and then I came down because they tricked me? Like, I don't know what was going through his head. Regardless, he quit out. He couldn't have waited that time for us to just get out of there. Pathfinder probably would have just swung up there, grabbed it, and respawns. It was right early in the game. We were still looting. But no. So I guess this video kind of just turned into, should we hit these people with bans? No, not bans. You just give them the timeout. Go to the wall. But I do think changes like that would go a long way for people that solo queue and play with a lot of randoms. The solo queue mentality is different, and you're going to have to adapt to it, and part of that is actually just expecting that your teammates aren't going to be there for you. I remember when I first started playing this game and my teammates would drop out early, I would get pretty bummed out. But not anymore. Now I just take it in strides, and I actually enjoy being solo now. I've done a lot of sneaky stuff where I get into the last circle and then third party them, and it's really satisfying to me. And I have to play it differently than I would a normal game, but being able to adapt to that situation is actually really useful. Plus, it just teaches you a lot about the game when you're playing solo. It especially teaches you how not to overreach. When you jump into a squad of 3, if you try to jump in close distance, like, it's going to be rough. Unless you have an R99 and a shotgun, it's probably going to be one of the harder fights for you to take. If you can take one guy out at long, doing some chip damage at medium, and then jumping into close quarter combat for the finish, I think you can do really well. But as a solo player, you usually can't just end up doing that all at once. You can't do it all from far distance because they're just going to out-heal you and outpace you. And if you go in all at once into close, then usually you're just going to get outgunned. And I like people that can go off on their own, play solo with a squad, and then come back to their team instead of just getting dropped there. Like, some people will see a whole team and they'll start pinging it like, dude, do you not see how far away from you I am? Like, you've gone too far from the team. Your ping is practically useless at this time if you end up engaging. But if you're somebody that's good at not overextending, you may do a little bit of chip damage and let them follow you until you get back to the team, or you at least give me enough time to get to you. There's a lot of ways for you to do that, but I think a big part of that is learning to play solo in a team game. And these are the reasons that I like Pathfinder. If this guy coming up was a Pathfinder, he would have been able to let go of the rope and then do like a little sideways swing to make it unpredictable. But if you're going to be coming up the only place that I'm expecting you, like, how did you think that chase was going to go? That's classic overextending. He was thirsty. And when you overextend like that, you end up having your next meal through a straw. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this episode. I just wanted to finish it off with this clip because right now we're shorthanded. You can see that our teammate is still here. He did go into the building and got shot down. At this point, me and the other teammate were looking, and we got to see that it was only one guy because I have a bloodhound on my team. But he also has a shotgun, and I think he had an R99. When he went in there, he got shot out. And I have an R99, which I feel good about in close distance, but I also don't want to push in all my chips on an all-in when it's not needed. We can see where the circle is right now. He's going to have to move eventually out of his defensive position, and from there we should just be able to easily gun him. And me and this other guy have come to the conclusion that we're going to wait him out. And he's just a random, but you can still get a good sense of what a random's going to do if you just kind of pay attention to how he plays. You can also take advantage of the ping system. I had to use the one that says protecting this area. Also the one that tells people that your looting is particularly useful, especially in the late game when you're at one of those high traffic areas that hasn't been looted for some reason. Sometimes your teammates are like, why is he even there? It's because it wasn't looted yet. And that's pretty much the end of this video and the end of this game. So if you guys enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment. And next video, maybe some Titanfall, maybe some Apex Legends, maybe I'm going to start playing a new game. Probably not. Maybe, but probably not. This time I'm serious, unlike when I was talking about the Kraber video.